Golden State Warriors' nightmare kept on getting worse, but it's really not what you think. At this point, we're all aware of the Chris Paul-Jordan Poole trade, where the Warriors sent Jordan Poole, last year's second-round pick Ryan Rollins, and last year's first-round pick Patrick Baldwin Jr., and the future first and second-round pick in exchange for 38-year-old Chris Paul and the draft right to the 57th overall pick in this year's draft, in which the Warriors got Trey Jackson Davis. For Golden State, if Chris Paul can stay healthy in the playoffs, that means he could be the possible missing puzzle for this Warriors team to compete for the title. Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green will create a lot more mobility and firepower from anywhere on the court. Chris Paul can also provide Steph with more room to rest and make adjustments while maintaining the team's depth. But what makes me want to break things down more today is this new perspective about Warriors team's future development. After completing this trade with the Washington Wizards, Golden State officially gave up on their two-line youth development plan, where they maintain their core players to contend while also drafting young guys and developing them for the future. And obviously, this plan failed and the cost is pretty significant, because despite trading away Jordan Poole, the inner conflict within this Warriors team still is not over. And we might see some massive changes coming up soon. In today's video, let's talk about why the championship window is closing quickly for Golden State and why they eventually have to make this one critical tough decision. So without further ado, let's show the intro.
Hi. I'm on my match in the dark. 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 I'm on my match in the
Yo, what's up guys, Jason here back with another video. If it's your first time watching, I mostly cover news and reports for the Golden State Warriors, but we also occasionally make content for every other teams in the league. So if you want the latest basketball news or rumors in your feed, all you gotta do is to leave a like and subscribe so that you won't miss any of my future upload. Before getting started, we have a lot of stuff to cover today, so make sure you guys watch the entire video to get the full content. Now, in these previous 3 years, Golden State drafted James Wiseman at number 2, Jonathan Kuminga at number 7, Moses Moody at 14, and lastly Patrick Baldwin Jr. at 28. While the plan was to develop these 4 players into the future of this Warriors franchise, this plan started to fall apart. During the trade deadline last season, Golden State moved James Wiseman away for GP2, and this marks the beginning of the end of the two-line youth plan the team had. And like we said before, this is the plan where Golden State remains competitive with their old core while developing these young players on the bench to eventually become the future of this team. Honestly, if you think about it, this plan actually is really smart. The team can use most of their cap room on this veteran and keep these rookies on bench on rookie contract and have them come in during games here and there to learn and developed, but unfortunately it did not work out. And obviously a few days ago, Golden State moved Jordan Poole away to Washington. This further shows us that Golden State is determined to move on from their youth plan and stick to their core completely. Now, a few days ago before the draft, according to NBA senior reporter Jake Fisher, the Warriors and Pacers discussed a deal surrounding Jonathan Kuminga and the number 7 pick ahead of Thursday's NBA draft. However, nothing came of it, so you can already tell from here that other teams in the league have been choosing Kuminga, and the Warriors indeed had thoughts on moving off of him completely. But I guess the 7th overall pick is not what the team really wanted out of a Kuminga trade, as Golden State needs proven veterans instead. So now, all these news are pointing to the idea that Golden State still plans to rely on their veterans, in this case the big three of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and build a team around them to contend. This also means that developing young players will no longer be the focal point of this Warriors team next season. You can see drafting Podziemski and Jackson Davis is also a sign they aligns with this objective, as both players are guys that can play right away. Now, moving Jordan Poole off the team and acquiring Chris Paul is also a sign that the Warriors want to sign Draymond Green back. In conclusion, the team wants to maximize the chance to compete for the championship, and trading Jordan Poole away can be viewed as a signal to prepare for the extension of Draymond. And as we mentioned before, Golden State can move on from CP3 next offseason easily because his contract next year is not guaranteed at all, unlike Jordan Poole, who is stuck with the team for the next 4 seasons. And further, according to NBA reporter Mark Stein, quote, I continue to hear nothing but strong confidence emanating from the Bay Area that an agreement on a multi-year deal for Green to stay right where he has always been is forthcoming. A 3-year deal, league sources say, is the popular current projection for the 33-year-old. He also literally implied that when the free agency market opens, he would be surprised if Draymond joins a different team. It's the fact that the 33-year-old Draymond is not what he used to be during his peak years, but within the Warriors system, Draymond Green is the key player. And plus, he has been playing with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson for 11 years now, so the chemistry between the three guys here are priceless. But then, here's where the nightmare situation begins. Now, aside from creating cap room to re-sign Draymond, trading Jordan Poole away is also the method Golden State took to address the locker room issue. We all know the relationship between Draymond and Poole is broken and cannot be fixed. Last year during training camp, Draymond threw a punch on Poole. However, the punishment the Warriors gave on Draymond Green was at a minimum level. Draymond left the team for a while and came back after the news wave went down. At the time, a bunch of Warriors young players supported Poole. Now, keep this note in mind because it relates to something important that we'll talk about later in today's video. Although Jordan Poole and Draymond Green publicly restored their relationship, the gap between them never got fixed. And I think this is a huge factor why Golden State did not play so well last season. It's the first year in a while where the Warriors are facing this hidden locker room issue. In order to contend for a title, they have to fix it. And then of course 3 days ago, they sent Jordan Poole away. Because think about this, if Jordan Poole is still here and the Warriors GM gives Draymond Green a small contract because of cap situation, how would Draymond Green feel? Or if they give Draymond Green a bigger contract, how would Jordan Poole feel? So instead, they sent Poole to Washington, and I think that further shows us that Golden State values Draymond Green over Jordan Poole by a big margin. Now, NBA reporter Colin Cowherd also reported some details on his show. He said that Jordan Poole was talking trash in practice to both Klay and Steph, but when he did the same thing to Draymond, he got punched. And later, we learned from Cowherd that this entire Golden State Warriors team does not regret trading away Jordan Poole. But hear me out. Remember I said earlier that a bunch of young Warriors players supported Poole when Draymond Green threw that punch? Take a look at this. After Chris Paul Jordan Poole trade was made official, Jonathan Kuminga liked this post on his Twitter, and that quote said, "The vibes will never be the same." Of course, there are different ways to interpret this, but I can see a sense of dissatisfaction. Obviously, as the youth group of this Warriors team, Kuminga is with Poole. And so far, we've been hearing a lot of teams show interest in Kuminga, and Kuminga was unsatisfied with the Warriors because he doesn't get much playing time in the playoffs. To me, this is concerning because 1, he is getting interest from other teams, and 2, the Warriors actually discussed the Kuminga trade with the Pacers as we mentioned earlier. And then, based on the tweet Kuminga liked earlier, you can argue that the inner conflict within this Warriors team is still not over, especially between the veterans and the young guys. To be honest, I think Kuminga is no longer at a safe position with the Warriors team. Despite the decent performance he had last season, I mean at some point, Kuminga was even the starter, and he played fairly well on the defensive end. Still, Steve Kerr doesn't trust him enough yet because we all see Kuminga barely got to play in the postseason. Now, the offseason is just getting started, and there is still a very high possibility that Golden State trade away both Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. But the good news is, at least for now, trading away Jordan Poole did more positives than negatives for this Warriors' strength, locker room chemistry, and future cap room structure. And now the question goes to you guys. Do you see Golden State completely move on from both Kuminga and Moody? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Alright guys, that's all we got for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and follow me on social media with all the links in the description box down below. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.